Welcome back everyone. Since my first video on prompt engineering, I have been getting a lot of questions from you all about the best way to write these prompts. Although I have released a bunch of videos on different techniques and examples that will help you get better and cleaner outputs, in this specific video, I wanted to share my own prompt engineering framework with you all for absolutely free, no strings attached. This is what I use to craft these prompts myself, and with this framework, if understood correctly, you'll be able to design any prompts you need and get effective output every time. My framework is created with good understanding of large language models. So before we jump into the video, let's quickly look at how these LLMs come up with the output when prompted. So large language models such as GPT-3 are constructed using multiple layers of deep neural networks inspired by the neurons in our brain. These models are trained on vast amounts of data to learn facts, statistical patterns, and word relationships. When you input a prompt, it is tokenized into smaller units. Tokens can represent characters, words, or subwords. These tokens undergo computations through the network's layers to generate contextually coherent output tokens. Finally, the output tokens are converted back into readable text, and it's important to note while these LLMs can generate contextually coherent responses, they lack true understanding and operate based on learned patterns and statistics rather than genuine comprehension. Now, what guides these models' understanding is context. Contextual information helps the model understand the prompt by considering the preceding tokens and their relationships. This is facilitated through a concept called contextual embeddings, which capture the meaning within the given context. The attention mechanism then further assists in focusing on the important and relevant parts of the prompt by assigning different statistical weights to different tokens. By leveraging context, LLMs are able to generate responses that are more coherent and aligned with the provided information, resulting in superior quality output. So even if none of this makes sense, the only takeaway that's important for this framework is that the context is very important for these LLMs to perform the right computations in order to create better quality outputs. Hence, we need to look at all the different ways we can feed context to these LLMs. Alright, now to the fun part. So the framework I developed actually breaks down a prompt into 4 parts: desire, direct context, rules, and conversation. The desire is straightforward. You specify what you want. For example, build me a resume. Then we move on to the direct context, which is the text that you can put almost as a direct narration of the related situation. For example, you write about your education, experience, achievements, etc. to give the model your data to build a resume. Or you can provide a job description to have your resume tailored towards that. Now, component 3 is rules. This is where you ask it to play a role, stick to a format, arrange the information in a certain way, etc. This is also how you use the popular prompt engineering techniques out there. And the last component is the conversation. Now, the conversation is extremely useful for context because at this point, the LLM can rerun through the neural network and change things accordingly. You're missing out big time if you're not taking advantage of the conversation component. A lot of advanced prompts that I work with will always have the conversation element. This doesn't just mean that you're continuing the conversation after the prompt has returned an output. What I'm talking about is the fact that you can initiate certain conversations with ChatGPT within the initial prompt itself. This way, you can arm ChatGPT to converse with you to collect context every step of the way. Very similar to how we naturally engage with each other as human beings. Just think about it. When you're having a conversation with a friend, you explain something through a dialogue. 2 people need to converse in order to reach the same page. Hence, it's extremely important to initiate these LLMs to converse with you for advanced or complicated prompts. Let's look at this with an example. Here's a prompt that I had created in an earlier video for building resumes. I'll link both the prompt and the full video showcasing how the prompt works in the description below. As you can see, I start the prompt with clear desire and a quick rule to get it to stick to a role. Then I move on to providing a format, which is another rule. And then instead of giving it all the context for my resume, I ask it to actually go through the entire conversation with me to build the context gradually every step of the way. This reduces the tokens for each input and allows the model to build the output step by step. However, I do lay out the rules to follow when gathering the context, which is how you can control it even further. And at last, I end with some more rules and a little bit of direct context related to optimization and the writing style. That's it. So guys, if you follow this framework, you'll be able to write quality prompts much easily. Now, when using this framework, my typical workflow would involve considering the problem at hand, which is the output output that I'm trying to reach. I would then write my ideas down on a notebook or a piece of paper, and then I would break them down into rules and the context that I would need to provide. Identify which areas would be best for direct versus conversational context. Typically, if there's a lot of context, and especially if the context is dependent on scenarios, it's always better to go with the conversation approach. After that, I add the rules accordingly and start writing the prompt. I'll usually always start with the simple desire and a role initiation, and then work my way down through the rest of the prompt. Now, I always use the step-by-step approach at the end to verify if ChatGPT understood the prompt the way I was trying to explain it. And here's a video that dives deep into that concept further. Anyway, this usually requires a few iterations, and once I see ChatGPT is explaining it correctly, I start working with the prompt, and sometimes I'll go back and edit as needed. That's all for today, guys. I hope this answers a lot of the questions you all had, and I'm confident that this framework is going to change your life. Good luck, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I would really appreciate it if you smash the like button if you found this video useful, and subscribe for more content just like this. And with that, let's keep learning.